Business English with Richard Halligan. In this video, we are looking into negotiations. In business, one key element that helps a company succeed, grow, and survive is the ability to negotiate for products, equipment, transportation, and even for the services of people in different fields. You will need to have a certain skill of being able to acquire the things you need at either a lower price of what is being asked for, or to acquire the services of another company to help you promote your company or product. Negotiations can and will take time to achieve your target, but it's the journey that creates new opportunities and future partnerships as you make deals and compromises with these companies and clients. Let's have a look at the words in this slide. Our first word is acquire. Acquire. Acquire means to buy or obtain an asset or object for oneself. It could also mean to learn or develop a skill, a habit, or a quality. Next we have negotiations. Ne-go-she-ations. The meaning of negotiations means a discussion aimed at reaching an agreement. Our next word is achieve. Achieve. The meaning of the word achieve is successfully bring about or reach a desired objective level or result by effort, skill, or courage. Our next word, partnership. Ships. Partnerships. The meaning of this is an association of two or more people as partners. And finally on this slide, we have compromises. Compromises. The meaning of compromises is an agreement or settlement of a dispute that is reached by each side making concessions. Steps to help in negotiating. Prepare. Think of negotiations like a dinner party. It's all about preparations. So prepare, prepare, and of course, prepare again. You need to think of the following. Who do I invite? Who do I negotiate with? Who needs to be here? Who can influence the outcome? The words on this slide we have preparations. Preparations. The meaning of preparations is the action or process of making ready or being made ready for use or consideration. The next word we have here at the bottom, we have influence. Influence. The meaning of influence is the capacity to have an effect on the character, development, or behavior of someone or something, or the effect itself. And finally, we have outcome. 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 The meaning of outcome is the way a thing turns out. So for example, a result, the end result, or a consequence. Clip 4, take 1. This is known as the setup, and making sure you are leading with the right people in this process. When you are at the table, what kind of tactics can I use to build a good relationship with the people around my dinner table? As you want them to come back and you want them to invite you back. Now, preparation is the key factor before you go into any negotiations. Some negotiations are more focused on what is going on at the table than having taken the time to have a set targets and goals for the final outcome. You need to have a deal in mind that would not only benefit your company, but it can benefit their company as well. And they will not need to open talks with other companies. Before we move on, let's have a look at the words in this section. Our first word is tactics. Tactics. Tactics is an action or strategy carefully planned to achieve a specific end. Our next word, relationship. Relationship. A relationship means the way in which two or more concepts, objects, or people are connected, or the state of being connected. Our third word on the list, we have factor. Factor. Factor is a circumstance, a fact, or influence that contributes to a result or an outcome. Next we have targets. Targets. A target is usually a person, an object, or place selected as the aim of an attack. It could also mean an objective or result towards which efforts are directed. Next we have goals. Goals. The meaning of goals is the object of a person's ambitions or efforts. And finally, we have benefits. Benefits. The meaning of benefits is an advantage or profit gain from something or someone. Being prepared entails a whole host of things you may need to do, such as review and understand thoroughly the business of the other party by reviewing their website, their press releases, articles written about their company, and so forth. A thorough Google and LinkedIn search is advisable here. You may also review the background of the person you are negotiating with by reviewing any bio on the company's site. Plus, you may review what similar deals have been completed by the other side and the terms thereof. For public companies, some of their prior agreements may be filed with the SEC. And of course, understand the offerings and pricings from competitors of the party you are negotiating with. We have review, review, review. The meaning of review is a formal assessment or examination of something with the possibility of intention or instituting change if and when necessary. Our next word on the list, we have party. 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 Now, not to get confused with the event where people meet up and eat, drink, and dance and have a good time. No, this has a different meaning. This type of party is a person or people forming one side in an agreement or a dispute. Our third word on the list, we have background. 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 The meaning of background is a person's education, experience, and social circumstances. Our next word on the list, we have bio. Bio. A bio or biography or short biography. Okay. Track 5, take 2, glossary. Let's have a look at the words in this slide. Our first word we have is review. 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 It means a formal assessment or examination of something with the possibility or intention of instituting change if necessary. Our next word we have is party. 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 Now, not to get confused with party where people get together and eat, drink, and dance and have a good time. No, this party has a different meaning. So this one would be a person or people forming one side in an agreement or a dispute. Our next word we have is background. 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 This word means a person's education, their experience, and their social circumstances. Our next word is bio. Bio. Short for biography, it highlights people's profile of a particular person that you're looking for. Our next word on the list, we have similar. 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 This word means resembling without being identical. So pretty much you can have two things that look identical, but they might not be the same thing. Our next word is offerings. Offerings. Offerings, which is the gerund version to offer. Now this means a thing offered, especially as a gift or a contribution. And finally, we have the word competitors. 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 Now, the meaning of this one is an organization or country engaged in commercial or economic competition with others. Manage all aspects of the negotiations. There are three key areas you have to focus on to make your deal work. First, is the problem. This is the easiest solution to solve, such as the terms, the money, the standard issues of the let me do that one again. Clip 6, take 2. Manage all aspects of the negotiation. There are three key areas you have to focus on to make your deal work. The problem. Now, this is the easier situation to solve, such as the terms, the money, the standard issues of the negotiations. If you are good with numbers and can read the terms on a contract, then it's no problem. The second we have is the people. Managing the people is the difficult area. People will always get in the way. Their emotions get in the way of making rational thoughts and rational decisions. In this situation, you have to manage your own emotions and the emotion of the other side. And finally, the process. You can have a process where people knock their heads together for a solution, but this can cause headache on both sides. Or you can have people actively put their heads together to face a common problem and to find a way of resolving that problem to everyone's satisfaction. Listening. We're so used to trying to sell something by talking and without asking questions to the buyer of what it is they actually want. So by listening to what the other party wants, you are able to craft a deal that addresses the other person's concerns while helping yours as well. Negotiators who do all the talking seem to want to control the conversation and expound endlessly on the merits of their position. The best negotiators tend to be the ones who truly listen to the other side, understand their key issues and hot buttons, and then formulate an appropriate response. Try to gain an understanding about what it is important to the other side, what limitations they may have, and where they may have flexibility, and also refrain from talking too much. Let's have a look at the words on this slide. On this slide, we have key issues. Key issues. Now, the meaning of key issues is something that is a crucial subject. So something that's very important. Our next word on the list, we have hot buttons. Hot buttons. The meaning of hot buttons, this is a behaviors in others that anger us and can cause us to react destructively. So if somebody was to say something that you didn't like, or as we like to say, push people's buttons. So you have a particular button that might set you off or make you upset very quickly. Our next word we have formulate. Form, you, late. Formulate. The meaning of formulate is to create or devise a strategy or a proposal. Our next word, gain. Gain. The meaning of gain is to obtain or secure. So pretty much the same as acquire. And finally, we have refrain. Refrain. The meaning of refrain is to stop oneself from doing something. So i.e. talking too much, or eating too much, drinking too much, and so on. Ask the right questions. Don't be afraid to ask the other party many questions. The answers can be informative. For the negotiations, depending on the type of deal, you could ask, is this the best pricing or offer you can give me? What assurances do I get that your product or solution will actually work for me? Who are your competitors? How do their products compare? What else can you throw into the deal without cost to us? What is your desired timing for the deal? How does our deal benefit you? We want to avoid unreasonable forms of contracts or unreasonable lawyers on your end. How do we ensure that? One more time. Clip 8, take 2. Ask the right questions. Don't be afraid to ask the other party many questions. The answers can be informative for the negotiations. Depending on the type of deal, you could ask questions like, is this the best pricing or offer you can give me? What assurances do I get that your product or solution will actually work for me? Who are your competitors? How do their products compare? What else can you throw into the deal without cost to us? What is your desired timing for the deal? How does our deal benefit you? We want to avoid unreasonable forms of contracts or unreasonable lawyers on your end. How do we ensure that? Let's check out the words on this slide. We have informative, informative. With informative, it means providing useful or interesting information. And for our next word, we have assurances. Assurances. This means it's a positive declaration intent to give confidence. And finally, we have throw in. Throw in. Now, throw in is actually a phrasal verb, which you will probably hear a lot on this course. It's to introduce or interject in the course of something. So what it means is to bring something in or to add something to a discussion or to an argument. Leverage. You want to negotiate, not to beg. And to negotiate, you need leverage. You need some bargaining power. That power could be from your status, your legal power, political power, could be your resources, but in negotiations, there could be other powers that come into play, such as your reputation as a negotiator, so you can be tough but fair. One great power you can have is by withholding something of value from another person. On this slide, the words we have are beg. Beg. Now, the meaning of beg is to ask someone earnestly or humbly for something. So normally, if you see someone who is very desperate, or they might start saying things like, oh, can I have this? Please, 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 can I have this? That is a sign of begging. Our next word we have is leverage. 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 The meaning of leverage is to use something to a maximum advantage. So, i.e., for example, you may have something the other person doesn't have, or you have certain information the other person does not have. Our next word is bargaining. 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 The meaning of bargaining is to negotiate the terms and conditions of a transaction. Next we have status. 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 The meaning of status is the relevant social, professional, or other standing of someone or something. Or it could also mean the position of affairs at a particular time, especially in political or commercial contents. Next we have legal. 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 The meaning for legal is based on or concerned with the law. And it can also mean appointed or required by the law. Our next word is political. 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 The meaning for this is relating to the government or the public affairs of a country. Our next word, resources. 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 The meaning of resources is a stock or supply of money, materials, staff, and other assets that can be drawn on by a person or a organization in order to function effectively. It could also mean an action or strategy which may be adopted in adverse circumstances. Okay. Our next word we have is reputation. Reputation. The meaning of reputation is the belief or opinions that are generally held about someone or something. It can also mean a widespread belief that someone or something has a particular habit or characteristic. So pretty much what it means by reputation, it means that you are known for doing something, or you're famous for doing something, i.e. actors, footballers, and singers. Our next word we have is withholding. 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 Withholding means refusal to give something that is due or desired. Or it could also mean suppress or hold back an emotion or a reaction. And finally, we have value. Value. The meaning of value is regard that something is held to deserve the importance, worth, or usefulness of something. Keep the negotiations professional and courteous. This is also known as a don't be a dick rule. Nobody really wants to do business with a difficult or abusive personality. After all, even after negotiations are concluded, you may want to do business with this person again. Or the transaction may require ongoing involvement with the representative of the other side. Establishing a good long-term relationship should be one of the goals in the negotiation. A positive tone in negotiations is more likely to result in progress to a closing. On this slide, the words we have are difficult. 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 Now, this meaning is needing much effort or skill to accomplish, deal with, or understand. It can also mean it characterizes by or causing hardship or problems. Also, another meaning we use difficult for is to say that something is really hard and it's not easy to do or to finish. Our next word we have is abusive. 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 Now this one means extremely offensive and insulting. Our next word, concluded. Concluded. The meaning of concluded is to bring something to an end. Next, establishing. 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 This one means to set up either an organization, a system, or a set of rules on a firm or a permanent basis. And finally, we have long term. Long term. The meaning of long term is occurring over or relating to a long period of time. Understand the deal dynamics. Understanding the deal dynamics is crucial in any negotiation, so be prepared to determine the following. Who has the leverage in the negotiation? Who wants the deal more? What timing constraints is the other side under? What alternatives does the other side have? Is the other side going to be getting a significant payment from you? If so, the leverage will tend to be on your side. The words on this slide, we have dynamics. Dynamics. The meaning of dynamics is the branch of mechanics concerned with the motion of bodies under the action of forces. It can also mean the forces of properties which stimulate growth, development, or change within a system or process. Our next word we have is constraints. Constraints. The meaning of constraint is a limitation or restrictions. Next we have alternatives. 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 The meaning of this word means available as other possibilities. So meaning if you are trying to do one thing but you can't do it, an alternative is like your backup or plan B. And finally we have significant. Significant. This means great or important, to be worthy of attention, noteworthy. Always draft the first version of the agreement. An absolute fundamental principle of almost any negotiation is that you or your lawyers should prepare the first draft of the proposed contract. This lets you frame how the deal should be structured, implement key points that you want that haven't been discussed, and gets momentum on your side. The other party will be reluctant to make extensive changes to your document, unless it is absurdly one-sided, of course. And therefore, you have already won part of the battle by starting off with your preferred terms. Having said that, you want to avoid starting the negotiations with an agreement that the other side will never agree to. Balance is key here. So the words we have for this slide, we have draft. Draft. The meaning of draft is a preliminary. Why do idiots have to make freaking dictionary so difficult? Okay. Track 12, take 3, glossary. Now the words we have on this slide, we have draft. Draft. Now the meaning of draft is normally a rough version of a piece of writing, or it could be a drawing or any type of plans that you might have. So it's a rough version. Next we have proposed. 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 The meaning of proposed is to put forward an idea or plan for consideration or discussion by others. Next we have structured. Structured. A structured means construct or arrange according to a plan. Next we have implement. Implement. To implement, we put a decision, a plan, agreement, or any other action into effect. Next we have reluctant. 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 A reluctant means that you are unwilling and hesitant, and you're also disinclined. So next we have extensive. Extensive. For extensive, it means covering or affecting a large area. Next we have avoid. Avoid. The word avoid means to keep away from or stop oneself from doing something. Normally avoid, we use this to try and stay away from another person. And finally we have balance. Balance. The meaning of balance is a condition in which different elements are equal or in the correct proportions. Be prepared to play poker and be ready to walk away. You must be able to play poker with the other side and be able to walk away if the terms of the deal aren't up to your liking. Of course, this is easier said than done, but is sometimes critical to get an endgame. Know before you start what your target price or walkaway price is. Be prepared with market data to back up why your price is reasonable. And if you are confronted with an ultimatum that you absolutely can't live with, be prepared to walk away. Let's have a look at the words on this slide. We have play poker. Now, play poker is normally one type of expression involving to gamble and to take a risk. Next, we have walk away. Walk away. With walk away, it means easily, casually, or irresponsibly abandon a situation in which one is involved or for which one is responsible. Next, we have critical. Critical. With critical, this means expressing or involving an analyst or of the merits and faults of a work of literature, music, or art. Next, we have endgame. Endgame. With endgame, this means the final stages of a game such as chess or bridge where few pieces or cards remain. So pretty much coming up to the final part of the game or final part of a business deal where you feel all your pieces are in the right place. Next, we have market data. Market data. With market data, this means price and trade related data for a financial instrument. Next, we have confronted. Confronted. With the meaning of confronted, it means meet someone face to face with hostile or argumentative intent. And finally, we have ultimatum. 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 This is a final demand or statement of terms, the rejection of which will result in retaliation or a breakdown in relations. Keep in mind that time is the enemy of many deals. You have to understand that the longer a deal takes to get completed, the more likely that something will occur to derail it. So be prompt at responding. Get your lawyer to turn the documents around quickly and keep the deal momentum moving. However, that doesn't mean you should rush through negotiations and make concessions that you don't need to make. Understand when time is on your side and when time could be your real enemy. The words on this slide, we have derail. Derail. Derail means to obstruct a process by diverting it from its intended course. Next we have prompt. Prompt. The meaning by prompt is to assist or encourage a hesitant speaker to say something. Next we have is momentum. Momentum. For momentum, this means to help drive forward or gain by the development of a process or course of events. So what this actually means is to try, if you've got a good pace going or you've got a good speed going, try and keep it going. Like if you've got a good meeting going on, keep the process going. So keep the momentum up, and the more you do, the better it goes and the faster it goes. Don't fixate on the deal in front of you and ignore alternatives. In many situations, you want to have competitive alternatives. This can exchange your negotiating position and allow you to make the best decision as to know how to proceed. For example, if you are engaging in a process to sell your company, the best thing you can do is to have several potential bidders at the table. You may want to avoid being locked up into exclusive negotiations with one bidder until you have reached a meeting of the minds as to the best price and terms available. At the same time, if you are looking to buy a product, lease office space, or acquire a loan for your business, you will often be better off if you have alternatives. By negotiating with two or more parties, you can often obtain better pricing or better contractual terms. On this slide, we have alternatives. Oh, we've already done alternatives, so we don't have to focus on this. We can move on to enhance. Enhance. So for enhance, it means to intensify, increase, or further improve the quality, the value, or extent, the extent of. Next we have bidders. Bidders. The meaning of bidders is a person or an organization making a formal offer for something, especially at an auction. So i.e., if you are trying to sell your business or your house, you're always going to have someone to come up and say, I offer this much or I offer that much. So these are bidders. Next, we have the word or term locked up. Locked up. What we mean by locked up means to confine with dealing with one person. Don't get hung up on one issue. You may want to avoid getting stuck on a seemingly intractable issue. Sometimes it's best to suggest that an issue be set aside for the moment and both parties move on to make progress on other issues. A creative solution may come to you later outside the heat of the negotiation. On this next slide, we have stuck. Stuck. The meaning of stuck is to be or remain fixed. Like, for example, if you're driving your car along the highway and there are other cars in front of you and around you and you're not moving anywhere, this means you are stuck, so you can't move. Next, we have intractable. Intractable. Intractable means hard to control or to deal with. Finally, for this slide, we have set aside. Set aside. This means to keep or save something from a larger amount or supply in order to use it later for a particular purpose. There is another way how we use this one, is that if you are stuck in a sort of negotiations and there is no way to resolve it, what you can do is take whatever issue you have, put it aside, and then come back to it when everyone is more calm, more focused, and has a more clearer head. Never accept the first offer. It's often a mistake to accept the first offer from the other side. For example, if you are selling your home and you receive an offer, consider countering at a higher price or for better terms, even if there are no other offers. If you don't counter, the other party will be concerned that they offered too much and may end up with buyer's remorse and attempt to get out of the deal. And buyers expect that there will be a counter, as they expect their first offer will most likely be rejected. Most buyers will leave the room in their first offer to go up by at least 5% to 15% in price, depending on the situation. Counter offers and some back and forth negotiations will most likely lead to the two parties being satisfied that they struck the best deal they could, and thus be more committed to closing the deal. On this slide, we have countering. Countering. For countering, this is to speak or act in oppose to someone or something. This is also the same meaning for counter as well. Our next word is rejected. Rejected. Rejected is to refuse to agree to a request or a demand. Next we have counter offers. Counter offers. With counter offers, this means an offer made in response to another. So going back to one of my previous words, when somebody offers you a price or maybe like a bid, you don't like the bid, and you can give out a different number or a different request, and the other person can offer a counter offer, something higher or maybe lower. Next we have back and forth. Back and forth. With back and forth, this means repeatedly move in one direction and then in the opposite direction. So you're moving forward and backwards, forward and backwards. Or in this case, you are walking in one direction, you turn around and you go the other way, back and forth. And finally, we have the word commit. Commit. So to commit is to pledge or bind a person or an organization to a certain cause or policy.